Pokemon is the biggest media franchise of all time, and with that title comes all sorts of different avenues for fans to engage with the brand they love. Whether it be the video games, the TCG, the anime, manga, toys, board games, art, clothing, odds are, if it exists, there's been a Pikachu printed on it at some point. Now, these are all well and good, but they all have one flaw in common. You can't eat these.
You can't?
You know what you can eat, though? Blended up genetically modified chicken meat. It's one of the laws of nature, after all. When something is popular with the kids, the inevitable result is a fast food tie-in, because unlike adults, kids need to eat food. Pokemon is no stranger to swapping spit with Ronald McDonald and the like, but where did it all start? Well,
Oh my god, can you just shut up and take my order?
wait, you're not here for Pokemon cards? I was kind of doing a whole build-up to that.
Of course not. What kind of moron comes to McDonald's at 2 a.m. for a Happy Meal?
It's my favorite time of year, when I get to combine my vices.
Which is why I finally built up the courage to work at McDonald's. You see, I want to be the first one to get my hands on some of these packs, but where did this all begin? Well, let's take a trip down memory lane and look at all the times the Pokemon trading card game played a role in a childhood diabetes diagnosis here in the States.
It's November 1998. What's the first thing you do?
Impeach Bill Clinton! F***, I'm too early!
This works too. From November 15, 1998 to January 3, 1999, North Americans got their first taste of Kentucky Fried Charizard. That's right, KFC holds the crown for the first fast food chain to take advantage of Pokemania.
You see, Pokemon was huge in the late 90s. Or so I've been told. By history. I wouldn't know. I didn't exist yet.
Do any of y'all ever feel weird about being younger than Diglett? Inside your KFC's kids meal, you'll find one of 6 different toys. You got the usual suspects like a little squirt gun, which weirdly they used Ivysaur for and not like a water Pokemon. This keychain, Pikachu Treasure Keeper, don't get any ideas, a spinning matching game, a puzzle block, tattoos, and wait, Pokemon card game! Okay, don't get your hopes up. These aren't what we're thinking of. However, these playing cards predate the release of the English base set of the TCG, so that makes them technically the first Pokemon cards ever available in English, which is pretty cool. The cards themselves, though, yeah, these look more like placeholder cards than anything else. But they do have their own custom game you can play with them, and when I saw that, my interest peaked. Think of all the possibilities. What was the original card game like?
It's just Go Fish.
I'd love to show you some gameplay, but a deck of these cards goes for as much as a used car on eBay, and it's Go Fish. Like, are you really itching to see some Go Fish gameplay? Something that isn't more than my entire household's monthly rent are these little plushies. You could just straight up buy these with any meal for an extra $5. I have the Dratini one here, but there are also other fan favorites like Zubat, Seal, and Vulpix. Couldn't have picked a better selection of Pokemon to represent Gen 1 if I tried. In all honesty though, these are pretty mediocre compared to modern plushie standards, but for a cool $5 alongside your jumbo family meal, it's a fun bonus to an evening of greasy fingers and high cholesterol.
The KFC promotion isn't one I hear about all that often when the conversation turns to the history of Pokemon fast food promotions, as it naturally always does, but this is an interesting starting point for the series, and it makes looking at all the future tie-ins and promotions and comparing them all the more fun. Speaking of which...
It's November 1999. What's the first thing you do?
Impeach Bill Clinton! F***, I'm too late!
On November 10, 1999, the Oscar-worthy Pokemon the First movie exploded into theaters, grossing over $30 million in its opening weekend. To capitalize on the success, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company did what any smart business would do and teamed up with the worst fast food chain in North America.
The Burger King Big Kids Meal. It has more of the great-tasting food your kids love. Not to mention a little something else your kids may enjoy.
It's Pikachu!
Burger King held the honor of putting on one of the largest fast food promotions in Pokemon history, launching with a treasure trove of goodies to find in your kids' meal. Burger King featured the slogan, "Gotta catch 'em here," an obvious reference to not only the franchise's favorite catchphrase, but also the copious amounts of bacterial infections your toddler could collect from one afternoon in the play place. Outside of chickenpox, your kid would find one of 57 different toys in their kids' meal. These range from all kinds of things like keychains, water squirters, this time actually featuring water-type Pokemon for a change. Get f***ed, Colonel Sanders. Launchers, rev tops, plushies, light-ups, and even 3 different talking Pikachu. Not in my entire life have I ever seen a fast food promotion with this many different toys. It's actually kind of insane. And all of these little guys came inside a plastic Pokeball toy. I love this. It's so cool. I'm sure it's not responsible for the death of children.
Burger King and the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission want you to know about the voluntary recall of this Pokemon Pokeball. The ball may pose a suffocation hazard to children under 3.
Did not think I would be talking about dead babies today. So these Pokeballs had a nasty habit of getting stuck on the faces of young children and creating a vacuum which would lead to suffocation. Tragically, a 13-month-old girl in California died from this very occurrence. Word started to spread, and soon enough there was a large public outcry towards Burger King to take action.
So, what did they do? It's Burger King, what do you expect?
Yeah, initially Burger King tried to distance themselves from any responsibility by stating that it was not concluded that the Pokeball was the cause of death for the child. You see, Burger King wanted more evidence that kids were suffocating from their products, and they got their wish because on December 23rd, an 18-month-old girl from Kansas narrowly died from having one of these Pokeballs stuck to her face. Luckily, her father was able to intervene in time, but this was the story that finally got Burger King to take action. BK began a huge recall push on December 27th, urging consumers to either throw out the Pokeballs or return them to a restaurant in exchange for a free small French fry.
We're sorry your kid died. Here's some fries.
Burger King's rollout of this recall was still criticized, with some stores apparently not getting the memo and the response in general just being too slow. But the push still continued, reportedly costing Burger King over $1 million. But despite everything, unfortunately, another child, this time a 4-month-old boy from Indiana, tragically passed away after he suffocated on the toy. Of the 25 million containers out in the wild, less than half were returned, which means that there are still a lot of these Pokeballs out there.
Now, if anything's a good segue to stop talking about dead children, it's certainly not Pokemon cards, but how the hell else am I supposed to segue out of this?
Similar to the KFC plushies of before, Burger King also offered a special product you could add to your order for an additional fee. For just $1.99, you could add one of these 6 23-karat gold Pokemon cards to your collection. These came inside their own child-killing Pokeball and even came with a certificate of authenticity signed by Howard Lincoln, who was the chairman of Nintendo at the time. There were 6 gold cards to collect, each featuring a different fan-favorite Pokemon. We got Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo, Togepi, Jigglypuff, and Poliwhirl?
Guess which one I have?
In all honesty, these are a pretty cool piece of Pokemon history. They feel pretty substantial and are certainly display-worthy, even if they aren't really worth all that much at the end of the day. But don't worry, we're not done with Burger King yet. I saved the best for last.
And alongside each of these heavily taxed assets are Pokemon cards, damn it.
Pokemon trading cards.
The game is silent.
These were included alongside your toy and featured one of the original 151, so you could actually collect them all. They're pretty simple, still a major step up from the KFC cards, but there's not too much going on with these other than a screenshot of the movie on the back and some trivia. These jokes just write themselves, huh? What was planted on Bulbasaur's back at birth?
A bomb.
What does Charizard sometimes do unintentionally?
Tax evasion.
What are Metapod's most dangerous enemies?
Pesticides.
What is Weedle's favorite food?
The new Steakhouse Whopper Burger, only available at...
Burger King was all in on these, even going as far to host Tuesday trade nights, where kids were encouraged to come in and trade their cards with each other, which is about the most 90s thing I've ever heard.
I am a Pokemon master. I've captured all 150 types of monsters. I've come prepared to do battle with Pikachu, Mewtwo, Bulbasaur.
Burger King is a mile down the road on the right.
Thanks, mister.
Must be Tuesday. Yep.
Every Tuesday night is Pokemon Trading Night. Bring your kids in for a tasty Burger King Big Kids Meal dinner and let them trade their cards and toys. It makes a parent's life a little easier, not to mention have Pokemon traders. Pokemon and the Burger King Big Kids Meal. Come and catch them all.
The Burger King promotion ended on December 31st, 1999, with a brief second run happening from March 13th to the 26th of the year 2000. That's right, guys, I was there.
With the turn of the century came new possibilities. New Pokemon were on the horizon, and that meant even more opportunities for tie-ins. The Burger King promotion was a huge success, but after the whole dead baby scandal, Nintendo would be smart to start fresh and partner with a new chain. Right?
Oh my god, this Whopper tastes so fucking bad. From July 24th to August 30th, 2000, we got a whole new set of kids' meal toys to coincide with the release of Pokemon the Movie 2000. This time we got Dear God Anything But Actual Pokemon cards featuring 24 different Pokemon. Just like last time, there are a bunch of different types of toys for kids to collect. My favorite of this batch was probably the glow-in-the-dark Snorlax, but I also gotta give a shout out to the super derpy Marowak and the Jigglypuff that definitely doesn't have a single thought going on in its head. That's not all though. The year 2000 had one more promotion that might just be the most unique one we've ever seen. To celebrate the release of Pokemon Gold and Silver in October, Burger King gave Pokemon one last hurrah with a collection of themed Game Boy Color toys. Okay, you can stop foaming at the mouth. These aren't actually real Game Boys, but these are still pretty cool. I always loved little replica consoles when I was a kid. Sometimes I would try to build a DS out of Lego or collect those erasers that looked like game controllers at the Scholastic Book Fair, and these Kids Meal toys kind of scratch the same itch for me. In execution though, these leave a little to be desired. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty cool to hold such a tiny and fairly accurate replica of a Game Boy Color, but as a toy, yeah, I can't really say I'm having much fun with this.
You're a grown man playing with a toy made for 6-year-olds? Aren't you supposed to be working? Like, this is a pretty long line. There's a lot of people.
To be fair, out of all the different types of these, I'm pretty sure I got the worst one. There were ones that talked, ones that lit up, ones with moving Pokemon, pachinko games, a lot of variety overall. Each and every Game Boy came with a unique gold or silver cartridge featuring a different Pokemon. Now I really want to know what the ESRB would rate Drowsy. Opening up the tumor growth on the back, you'll get a Watermelon Jolly Rancher? It's just a colored piece of plastic with the Pokemon on it. Okay. I don't really know what to do with this. It doesn't taste like a Watermelon Jolly Rancher, that's for sure.
After this run's conclusion, we entered the dark ages of Pokemon fast food promotion with an unbearable 3-year wait until kids' meals would finally be great again. Hopefully we'll finally get some actual cards soon.
Why do I even bother? In 2003, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company made a change once again. Burger King joined Colonel Sanders in the timeout corner, and Wendy's got the honor of delivering one of the most mid-collections so far. Even when I was a kid, I swear Wendy's always had the lamest toys in their kids' meals, and this is still the case here. First off, we have not Pokemon cards included with every toy, as is tradition up until now. In addition to that, we have a backpack tag, a keychain, a Charizard card holder, a compass, and a clock? Okay, actually as an adult, I kind of like the clock, but man, if I was a kid, I would feel like I would have actually preferred if my kids' meal toy was, you know, a toy. Good evening, America. Welcome back to the 74th Annual Fast Foodies with your host, Awardy Hostman.
Come on. Welcome back, America. We got a lot of ground to cover, and I only paid for 1 hour's parking meter, so let's get this show on the road. The nominees for Worst Pokemon Fast Food Promotion in the year 2005 are Subway. And the winner of Worst Pokemon Fast Food Promotion in the year 2005 is
Subway, home of the $5, $6, $7. Subway, home of the $12.69 footlong. I'll cut to the chase. I bought a lot of stupid stuff for this video, but even I have my limits.
What the fuck am I doing?
I didn't say they were limits that made sense. The 2005 Subway promotion was mainly tied to the release of the Destiny Deoxys movie and featured a crazy Pokeball. And before you asked, I checked, these Pokeballs thankfully don't have a positive KD. We also have a lacrosse stick, a Rayquaza flying disc thing, and a Deoxys cock. And still no Pokemon cards?
This is getting ridiculous. The whole reason I got this job is so that I have more people to yap about Pokemon cards to, and so far we've gone through almost a decade of fast food history, and all we have are cheap, plastic, and crappy imposters. Someone needs to step up. We need a true hero to do what's been long overdue and put Pokemon cards in the greasy hands of children. But who's gonna step up? Who's gonna save the day?
Son of a bitch.
That's right, the king is back. To celebrate the release of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, a year later, we got, am I dreaming? Actual Pokemon cards? This promotion featured 12 different toys ranging from figures that doubled as a display, plushies, or card storage. Not nearly as much variety as previous Burger King outings, but man, who cares? We got real, genuine Pokemon trading card game trading cards. It only took 10 years. Now, before you continue wetting yourself in excitement, just be aware that none of these are particularly rare. They do have a unique stamp, which is neat, but other than that, there's nothing differentiating them from the normal reverse holos you'd find in the Diamond and Pearl or Mysterious Treasures expansions these cards originate from. But I don't care. I have so much nostalgia for this era of the TCG since it was around the time when I really got into Pokemon as a child. There's something so charming to me about how a lot of the cards from the Diamond and Pearl base set just use the stock Kensugi Mori art. I think we're so used to seeing some incredible original artwork, even on the most common of modern cards, that it's hard to appreciate simple stuff like this. But damn it, this Chimchar makes me feel something. It's official, Burger King is back on top. These Pokemon cards were almost enough to distract me from the fact that I'm eating Burger King. More, please! And just 1 year later, we would get exactly that, with another wave of junk to celebrate the release of Pokemon Platinum, 10 months after its release. In reality, these cards were more so meant to coincide with the Platinum expansion of the TCG, which was released a couple months prior, as every card from this set came from the Platinum expansion. Except I just lied, none of the cards came from the Platinum expansion. The toys this time around are pretty lame, honestly. I think by this point they were starting to understand that everything not Pokemon card related was getting tossed into the trash on the way out of the restaurant along with a full barf bag. I mean, Burger King kids meal anyway. While these Burger King promotions weren't perfect, they finally brought us into what I consider to be the modern era of Pokemon fast food card promotions. Because, well, they actually had Pokemon cards in them now. In 2011, the Pokemon Company would finally break off its brief rebound with Burger King and finally enter a serious, committed relationship with none other than... Hi, welcome to McDonald's!
I've been sitting here for 15 minutes.
That's right. From Gen 5 onward, nothing but those golden arches had the privilege of serving you Clang alongside your chicken nuggets. The first two promotions in 2011 and 2012 featured Pikachu alongside other Unova Pokemon. The toys this time are just simple figures, and that's how I like it, damn it. I got the Duat one here, which came with a card of nobody's favorite Pokemon and a reminder of what they took from us. The McDonald's cards all have this confetti-like hollow pattern, which looks really great and, as far as I'm aware, isn't seen anywhere else. The 2012 through 2014 series also had a stamp of the McDonald's logo, making these the most McDonald's cards of the McDonald's cards. 2014 upped the ante by pairing a weapon with each Pokemon cards. These disc launchers were basically a fancy way of playing rock, paper, scissors, but who cares about all that? We got a Weedle! If that's not your thing, 2015's line was all about legendary Pokemon like Lugia, Rayquaza, Hoopa, Kyogre, Groudon, and, Wobbuffet?
Guess which one I have?
This is probably one of my favorite toys so far. It's nothing special, he just strikes his iconic salute, but it makes for a good fidget toy, I guess. There's 12 cards this time around, mostly just common reprints from the Roaring Skies and Primal Clash expansions. I got the Pikachu card, which is usually the best I can get from these value-wise, which I guess that was pretty nice. 2017 was all about Sun and Moon. This time we got a water-squirting Poplio that I actually used to help me find and fix a tire leak in my car, which is probably the most useful thing a Happy Meal toy has ever done in the history of the universe. The card selection is more of the usual suspects, featuring mostly new Pokemon from Sun and Moon, and some Alolan forms like the Meowth I got here. 2018! Yeah, I played Latios Bowling. What did you do last weekend? Also, look at this Porygon card. What the hell happened to this thing? If this is what being trapped inside of a Happy Meal for 9 years does to something, then I should probably stop using these things as a sleep mask. 2019 brought back firearms, this time with a built-in holster. Not to get political here though, but whatever regulations these got slapped with made them a lot lamer than the ones we got in 2014. Anyway, we got more cards including another Pikachu that's seen better days. Anyway, these toys were...
I'm bored! It's just the same thing every year. One toy, one card, and the Pokemon they're featuring aren't even that cool. Call it bias, call it nostalgia, call it whatever you want, but I think these kids' meals were more exciting before there were Pokemon cards in them. Oh my god. Oh my god, what have I been doing this whole time? What has this all been for? Maybe I was too hard on Burger King. Maybe we should give them another chance. You know, McDonald's wasn't the only company doing a Pokemon grift in 2019 after all. Go back. I'm just getting burnt out. I need some more variety, something new and fresh, something that's never been done before with Pokemon cards. Something...
We got booster packs, bitches! That's right. To celebrate the 25th anniversary of Pokemon in 2021, McDonald's finally cut the crap and brought gambling to the play place. In every Happy Meal, greasy smelly scalpers that bought out the entire shipments of these things would find not 1, not 10, but 4 cards in their pack. This year's set featured every starter Pokemon from generations 1 through 8, as well as Yellow Rat. This set came out right around the time as a big Pokemon boom that was stirred by the pandemic, as well as a bunch of influencers trying to sell NFTs. Since I'm a sheep, this was also around the time that I really started getting back into the hobby, so you know I was there on day 1 proudly ordering dinner intended for 4-year-olds. This is the set that I have the most cards from, as these kids meal packs were quite literally the only Pokemon cards I could reliably get my hands on to satiate my addiction at the time. They have the same 25th anniversary stamp featured on all the cards from the Celebrations expansion that was also released that year. And also, as a side note, if you're ever looking for a use for these mini binders, these fast food expansions are a perfect fit. After the success of 2021, McDonald's learned their lesson, as every promotion from here on out was just about packs. Which takes us to today, in the Scarlet and Violet era, where I gotta say, the holo designs are genuinely gorgeous. Since the regular rares of this era have holographic borders as well, that means we get even more confetti. The newest collection in the year of our Arceus 2025 features Dragon Pokemon and even has specially branded milk and apples. Finally, I can know what Koraidon's milk tastes like.
And there you have it, the entire history of fast food Pokemon cards here in America. Pretty interesting, right? I know it was a lot, but at least now you can say you're obese with knowledge, too. Anyway, I should probably get back to taking care of these orders now.
But hold on, it's not my fault. Man, you're making me look fat. These people think I'm ordering a lot of food. I said hold on, it's not my fault, man.
I got fired.